I just saw Babygirl. I just saw Babygirl. Babygirl? Babygirl. I don't know how to say this title well. It feels awkward coming out of my mouth every time. And even though I have no voice today, I'm still real Slim Katie. So let's get into it. Also, just to clarify, this movie is about sex, power, and control. So if you're not super comfortable with that, just skip this one. I got other cool vids. This movie was very, very well promoted. This movie has been all over TikTok. It's very popular. It's very talked about right now. And I know it's not just speculation because I'm filming this on January 12th, and this movie came out on Christmas, and I saw it in a packed theater this afternoon. So if you haven't seen this movie yet, this movie stars Nicole Kidman, Antonio Banderas, and Harris Dickinson in not quite a love triangle, but one of the most bizarre setups I've seen in quite a while. But first, to answer the question you are all asking, yes, this movie is sexy. It is. But it doesn't have long form sex scenes. Not in the way that people have been comparing it to 50 Shades of Grey. And Dylan forced me to watch that, and I didn't even like that movie. It was funny, but not sexy. And I think this movie has a lot of good sexiness, even without having very graphic sex scenes in it, because of its play with control. Obviously, control is a major theme in this story among characters, but I also feel like it is hugely employed amongst the audience. And if there was a sex scene, that would have broken the tension. Now, there are sex scenes in this movie, but it's not like graphic 2 to 3 minute montage of physical movement. It's more like sexual scenes. And that's the whole point. They're building tension between the two characters, and if the audience doesn't hold that tension, the relationship doesn't work anymore. For example, I don't find Nicole Kidman or Harris Dickinson particularly attractive on their own, but the tension that they deploy against the audience is brutal. I'm always impressed when a movie makes me root for something that's not even morally ambiguous, just like on general terms, like the not good thing to do, the shitty person, bad way to deal with things kind of thing to do. But you're still wanting to see what happens next in their affair. Antonio Banderas does a great job in this movie. But I kept thinking of every time I hear his voice, I hear Puss in Boots. I can't erase it. Puss and Boots. And I'll get back to the sex stuff in a minute, but we need to pause. The whole movie, I was like, who's this gay kid that I feel like I know them from somewhere, but I can't tell. Come to the credits. I see Esther Rose McGregor. This gay kid is Ewan McGregor's child. What? And she killed it in this movie. I thought it was a really interesting parallel to show Nicole Kidman's daughter having the same journey, kind of, as her at the same time, feeling lost at her point in life, straying from her relationship, but finding her way back. And I thought it was meant to show that she takes after her mother, but it kind of more read to me that Nicole Kidman's character was acting like a teenager, acting childish. And I'm going to say this. If you have been in a 19-year relationship and you've never come and you have not communicated this to your partner after 19 years, that's on you. Fuck you. If you're not sexually satisfied with your partner, why don't you have a conversation about it? How could you blame him for that when you'd not communicated that? That's super fucked up. It is a little fucked up that he didn't know that she hadn't. So I'm not saying the blame's all on her. But that's fucked. You didn't think to mention it? And as seen at the end, he clearly wants to make her happy. It wasn't for his lack of trying. But she did try to communicate her wishes and telling him stuff that she wanted to happen in the bedroom. And he said no to those things. Which, of course, consent requires enthusiastic and exciting consent from both sides. But it kind of sucks that he wasn't even willing to try the things she was interested in just because it wouldn't be interesting to him. Especially when you're in these longer relationships, it's super important to be willing and flexible and creative to try things for other people. Because damn, after 19 years, you can't expect the honeymoon phase to last forever. Relationships take work. It takes active choices to continue to be in that. And it so sucked seeing Antonio Banderas wanting to have that and her not trying. That made me sad. But let's talk about Harris Dickinson, who on his own, not the most attractive person to me in the world, but was sexy as hell in this movie. And what does that tell you about power? What does that tell you about control? So the biggest question in this movie is who is actually in control? Who had the power? Because he clearly took charge of her, but only when she allowed him to. It was a super interesting, flirtatious start to the movie of how they got together. And it made me think, does shit like that happen in real life? For real. Does that happen in real life? Do people meet each other and instantly know they want to fuck? Both people instantly know they want to fuck? My biggest thing with her Girl, the whole movie you're saying you don't want to get caught. Girl, you want to get caught better than anybody I've ever seen want to get caught. You want to get caught so bad you're going out, you're kissing this man in public. This is how you're looking at him at work. She's standing there at work looking up at him like, and not thinking people are going to know. Girl, what? Are you dumb? Of course everybody knows. Loved all the scenes of her drinking milk. Shout out Homelander. Shout out milk. Milk is such an underrated beverage. People think it's weird when you just drink straight milk. Did you not drink milk? Milk is good. And if you don't like milk, sorry your parents didn't love you. Breaking bones ass motherfuckers. You got weak bones because you're not drinking milk. Anyways, just super interesting play with power dynamics in this, not just between the two of them. You also can't deny that the husband, no matter how much he loves or doesn't love her, relies on her and her business to support his lifestyle. He's not making enough on a living as a director, even directing on Broadway. You're not getting that. You're not getting the money to support your family. Plus, where are you getting the money to produce your plays? Huh? So there is always going to be an element of like, you have a family, an established family. And it also didn't seem to bother him super much when she was clearly unfaithful. She didn't even come up with creative excuses. She just did the, I'm working late tonight, I'm not going to make it back. If you're going to have an affair, you deserve to at least give your partner a realistic, creative reason why you're not coming home. Because it's like, you already don't care about them because you're cheating on them, and you clearly don't care about their feelings at all. You just care about yourself. But you also don't care enough to create up a creative excuse. So fuck you. Also, can we talk about how messy she was with this? She literally didn't try to hide it at the office. She didn't even try to hide it at home. She was so messy with her older daughter. Like, her older daughter knew and was carrying that burden of her family. That's fucked. Now, I want to talk about the ending. This movie lost me a lot in the third act. I was enjoying myself a lot through this movie, but the ending pissed me off. Not because I thought it was bad. It's just not what I wanted to happen. Also, let's listen to the fucking Google AI overview. Rami, the main character, ultimately chooses to stay in her marriage with Jacob despite the affair. After confronting her own sexual dissatisfaction and communicating with her husband, she ultimately ends in a more positive place both personally and professionally by prioritizing her established life while acknowledging her needs and desires, highlighting the theme of self-acceptance without sacrificing her existing life. That's so fucked up. I literally don't even like the synopsis. I don't agree with the synopsis, first of all. So it's unclear at the end whether she gets Samuel a job out of the country or whether he goes on his own volition, he leaves. So we don't really get closure within their relationship. But it was heartbreaking to see the two men looking into each other's eyes. And he's like, you know she's using you, right? And the whole time he's adamant that she's not using him. She's not. Because he wants it. So obviously that's totally okay. But she does. She was playing with his mind. They were both fucking with each other's minds in a super unhealthy way. And she was using him and ultimately risked his career and threw him away like next day's bread. Now, I'm not advocating for them to run away as affair partners because I do think a relationship born out of dishonesty could never truly last. But I think it was super sad to see him realize that ultimately he was just a sexual toy to her and he started to feel differently. Now, at the beginning of the movie, I had a theory that he came to the company just to pursue her, but I wasn't really given any evidence towards that at all. And I hated the ending because ultimately, the ending was just that she served herself. She won. She got to have her affair and live out her fantasies and keep her job, hurting everybody around her in the process, and then go back to everything in her life that's good. Which just proves that Esme was right, that women in power are just as bad and are not afraid to hurt people if it means getting what they want. And at the end, her husband, thinking he's finally satisfying her, but her just reliving her fantasies. That's horrible. Like, I'm not saying it's not okay to think about shit during sex, but it is so fucked that he's so clearly trying to solve their relationship and she's just thinking about him. Like, that's really fucked up. Plus, after seeing the final shots of the movie, I'm like, girl, you should get into pup play. Clearly, she would like it. Anyways, I did think this was a fun watch. What I really, really enjoyed was the stuff that she was talking about, like being very vulnerable about female sexuality, talking about how, like, in sex, there needs to be stakes for her. I was like, girl, I've never heard people say that shit before on camera and be that vulnerable with a very real kink of a lot of people. So first of all, props for that. That was cool. But I didn't like her character at all, and I wasn't rooting for her. I definitely enjoyed the tension that the movie brought. Really great performances. But the ending was super unsatisfying to see her take it all at the end and just not even become a better person. Doesn't mean it was bad. It just wasn't satisfying to me and didn't bring me as much joy. Plus, the trailers made it feel like it was going to be more of a thriller than it was. And that kind of messed with my expectations in my mind. Anyways, if you're looking for a sexy film, this is definitely a good watch. Not the best watch in the world, but definitely a fun time. Also, if you like this, me and my best friend Louie make videos like this all the time, so feel free to subscribe and check out some of our other videos. But let me know what you guys thought. Am I crazy? Did everybody else love this movie and I'm just like ridiculous because I didn't like obsess over it? Like because I'm not absolutely horny for Harris Dickinson, am I crazy for that? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!